Thank you for watching NMH at 1, where we take a look at the news making headlines in the land of the brave and beyond, ranging from current affairs, community stories, sports, and economic news. In the news today, nurses forced to cut overtime claims, long-term inmates appeal for reduced sentences, Karas to benefit from free cash. I am Glenora Shipura, and this is NMH at 1. In our midday news update, the Namibia Sports Expo, as well as the Namibia Annual Sports Awards, was launched today in the capital. The Sports Expo will take place from the 25th to the 27th of October under the theme High Performance Sports in Africa, whereas the Sports Awards will take place on the 28th of October under the theme Celebrating Sporting Excellence. Both events will be held in Swakopmund. Limba Mupetami reports.
Share more light on the Namibia Sports Expo for 2023. This year we are going to have the 4th edition of the Namibian Sports Expo. I will give a brief overview on what is going to happen this year and what transpired last year. First and foremost, the Namibia Sports Expo is a joint event of the Namibia Sports Commission in the MTC Dome in an effort to engage local and international industry representatives, training experts and other critical.
Remember to engage with these stories on our social media throughout the broadcast. Visual news coming up after the break.
Welcome to Active Kids, a daily TV show that sparks creativity, learning, and fun for young minds. With exciting activities and lessons, Active Kids inspires curiosity and a love for learning.
New face to the 15.
The perfect mix of play and education. Don't miss out on the fun. Tune into Active Kids on NTV every weekday at 10 o'clock and let the adventure begin.
Let's take a look at today's visual news. The Eye Care Health Training Institute recently held its highly anticipated oath-taking and graduation ceremonies last Thursday and Friday, respectively. These momentous occasions were hosted at the Mercure Hotel, which was formerly known as the Safari Hotel Court and Conference Center. The ceremonies brought together a diverse and accomplished group of nursing undergraduates that jump-started their point in their professional journeys. Junior Kapofi reports.
Everyone to please remain silent during this very important time.
With compassion, and empathy. I accept it as my duty. To protect the interests. Of my clients. And to maintain professional knowledge. The highest level of knowledge. The skills and to contribute. Towards the development of my profession on this momentous occasion. Dear graduates, on behalf of the entire staff members of Eye Care Health Training Institute, I extend my heartfelt congratulations on this momentous occasion, your oath-taking ceremony. This is a special day that marks the culmination of years of hard work, dedication, and perseverance. It is a day that signifies the beginning of your professional journey as enrolled nurses and auxiliary nurses. And we are proud to witness this significant milestone in your lives. Your commitment to the nursing profession is commendable, and we are confident that you will uphold the values and ethics that are the cornerstone of our profession. The oath you have taken today is not just a ceremony. I'd like to repeat that. The oath that you have taken today is not just a ceremony, but a solemn commitment to provide quality care, to alleviate pain and suffering, to to treat patients with dignity and respect, and to maintain the highest standard of professionalism. As you embark on this journey, remember that you are not alone. You have the support of your family, your friends and colleagues, and the guidance of the great institution, the Hanke Health Training Institute. We are committed to providing you with the knowledge, skills, and tools that you need to succeed in your careers.
The Parliament has budgeted millions for S&T allowance and conference facilities from July to September. An update on this story follows in the newspaper review segment on the other side of the break.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Let's take a look at our newspaper review, starting off with the Namibian Sun's front page that reports that Parliament is set to splash nearly 15 million Namibian dollars in 3 months on conferences, subsistence and travel allowance, and conference facilities for members of Parliament for their recess activities between July and September. According to documents seen by Namibian Sun, the coastal resort town of Swakopmund is the preferred destination for many such events for both the scenery and the friendly inflation rate for travel allowance claims. Many events that could be held in Windhoek, where both houses of parliament are based to contain cost, are to be held outside the town. On page 3, due to poor rainfall received throughout 2022 to 2023, the Karas region has been selected as a beneficiary of the government's conditional basic income grant. Now, the grant falls under the auspices of the Gender Equality and Poverty Eradication Ministry. Governor Eltha Frederick announced this during her State of the Region address last month, adding that an assessment was done on the region in May. In April, the ministry noted that the Food Bank initiative will transition into CBIG, which will see beneficiaries who were previously part of the food bank receiving $600 million. The ministry managed to transform the food bank program into the CBIG during the current financial year, and a total of 8,047 households and 37,053 individuals received the grant across all 14 regions as part of the first phase of implementation, it said. Republican informs that DNA data of Pangolins in Namibia is being collected, which will assist in tracing smuggled pangolins and establish the extent of the international illegal trade in this species. According to the Wildlife Protection and Law Enforcement Report in Namibia for 2022, it is not known how many pangolins are successfully smuggled out of Namibia. It said that the current information suggests that the ratio is low, but more research is needed, including tracing pangolin product origins and trade routes through DNA analysis of pangolins and pangolin products in source, transit, and end market countries. DNA data is being collected in Namibia to enable this, but must be matched with data from transit and end market countries to establish the presence and extent of international trade. The report said that an international initiative to facilitate such analysis is currently underway. According to the report, pangolins currently rank second behind rhinos as the most targeted high-value species in Namibia in terms of the number of cases registered in 2022. On page 3, Hydrogen Energy CEO Marco Raffinetti says it will hurt Namibia's competitive advantage if the green hydrogen agreement between this company and the Namibian government is made. Raffinetti also referred to intellectual property rights as another reason why the agreement must remain confidential. On its front page, the Allgemeine Zeitung reports the trial of the disabled Bodmer couple who were found murdered on their farm near Koers in 2018 continued yesterday in the Windhoek High Court. The 3 accused are shifting the blame among themselves. one of the accused is also out on bail. On page 3, for the first time, the WHO's International Agency for Research on Cancer has classified aspartame as possibly carcinogenic. Experts point out, however, that such a classification does not necessarily classify aspartame as a cause of cancer. We'll be right back after the break with more newspaper review.
To another exciting episode of Irongo Top. Julle is weer en vertel ook vir julle waar die vis julle moontlik kan byt.
We continue with our newspaper review segment. The Namibian newspaper reports that nurses across the country are being forced to forfeit a substantial portion of their overtime hours, with a restriction of claiming for only 10 hours of overtime work and 8 hours per month for shifts on Sundays and public holidays. On average, nurses work 40 hours overtime per month and 20 hours on Sunday and public holidays. However, starting from April this year until March next year, they have been directed to report only 18 hours of total overtime work per month. A circular distributed in May, which the Namibians saw yesterday, shows that if nurses exceed these limited hours, they are advised to take leave instead of receiving compensation for their extra work. On page 3, 3 inmates serving unusually long prison terms they received at the end of trials in the High Court are now awaiting a Supreme Court decision on their appeals against their sentences. Oral arguments on the appeals of prison inmates Tuhafeni Kudamodi, Philemon Nkadi, and Eliphas Ndalusha were heard by acting judges of appeal Theo Frank, Hosea Angula, and Rita Makurao in the Supreme Court in Windhoek last Thursday. The court reserved its judgment at the end of the hearing. Kutumudi is serving a sentence of 85 years imprisonment, which he received at the end of his trial in the Windhoek High Court in July 2005. He was sentenced after he had been convicted of 3 murders committed when he stabbed 3 people to death at a village in the Ohangwena region in September 2002. Nandi was sentenced to an effective prison term of 70 years after his trial in the Oshakati High Court in June 2020. On New Era's front page, fired, expelled, or resigning fishermen will no longer benefit from the governmental employment redressing program more than once, as it is unsustainable. This was announced by Fisheries Minister Derek Claassen, who held several meetings on Friday with unions, industry players, and the Labour Ministry regarding the re-employment of over 1,000 fishermen through the latest attempt. Now the fishermen are expected to take up employment soon, with their first salaries expected to be paid end of this month. This latest attempt comes after last year's mass resignation of fishermen who were employed through a joint venture by Kevema Fishing. In response, a parliamentary standing committee of the National Assembly was dispatched to Eronko to investigate the issue, leading to the streamlining of the entire process. Mincing no words, Claassen said the government has done everything to re-employ the fishermen after their mass resignation and will no longer present new opportunities to them if they neglect the current efforts of the government. On page 3, following a cabinet directive to operationalize the dormant Rundu abattoir, renovations have been completed and a successful trial slaughter was undertaken. The Meat Corporation of Namibia CEO Mulima Mushokombanji has said the facility entrusted to Meatco by the government was intended to serve as a market for cattle and small stock farmers in the 2 Kavango regions. Originally scheduled for full operation by 2017, the construction of the $110 million abattoir began in 2014. However, financial limitations and subsequent delays prevented the timely completion of the facility and its subsequent commercial takeoff. According to a report by New Era in April, approximately $80 million is required for the first 6 months of the facility's operation. On to Market Watch, which reports that analysts are less certain than they were a month ago that South Africa's central bank will pause its steepest phase of monetary tightening since 2006. Of the 16 polled in Bloomberg's survey conducted July 7th to 12th, half predict the central bank's monetary policy committee will lift the benchmark interest rate by a quarter percentage point to 8.50%, and the rest forecast a hold after the policy meeting on July 20th. That's compared with almost two-thirds who expected a pause last month. The MPC has raised the key rate by 475 basis points since it started tightening in November 2021 in a bid to rein in inflation that has been above the 4.5% midpoint of its target range. Now, Nissan recalls 699,000 vehicles. More on this story in our economic news segment on the other side of the break.
We are so excited to be kickstarting your morning with entertainment. Everything was happening during this past weekend.
Yes.
Exciting news.
Wow, no, she was killing it already.
In my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with him serving the full term.
As well as keeping you informed on the issues that you need to know happening in and around our country.
Let's take a look at our economic news. Automaker Nissan announced the recall of 699,000 vehicles in Japan to address a range of defects that also affect more than 700,000 units overseas. The Japanese car manufacturer said the problems found in 5 models had not caused any accidents in Japan. A total of 699,000 units were affected in the country, with many having more than one fault. A spokeswoman for Nissan in Japan said the Japan recall includes 484,025 units of the Note, Serena, and Kicks models over a defective engine hose cover, which can lead to the hose cracking and preventing the vehicle from starting, the company said in a statement. It said 478,199 vehicles, including the Note Aura, Serene, Leaf, and Kicks, were being recalled for a faulty vehicle control program that in certain circumstances can cause acceleration after the cruise control is stopped. And 126,000 Serene units were being recalled for a wiring problem, while 6,434 units of the same model were being called back over a problem with the right headlight. Let's take a look at our economic indicators. The Namibian dollar trades against the British pound at 23.42, against the euro at 20.13, against the US dollar at 17.91, and $2.50 gets you 1 Chinese yuan. Most companies stayed the same on the selected NS stock closing prices, with Leshaka Holdings going up at 0.3%. Overall index closed in at 0.74%. Gold, platinum, and Brent crude oil all went up, with Brent crude oil going for 0.39%, going for $78 and 93 cents per barrel. The International Monetary Fund Board approves $271 million loan facility for Burundi. Stay with NMH at 1 for an update on this story.
Namibians are still safe.
Everywhere else, the Supreme Court said we are not going to rely on foreign judgments.
By all means, we try to not make journalists public figures, but at the end of the day, they are.
Very good evening. My name is Tewan Jabala, your host.
With their Protestant offsprings.
But the implementation, like she says, is another thing.
Let's take a look at the news from across the continent. The International Monetary Fund's Executive Board has approved a $271 million extended credit facility for Burundi with an immediate disbursement of over $62 million, the IMF said in a statement late on Monday. The East African country's economy is just starting to recover from years of conflict and political upheaval under former leader Pierre Nkurunziza that left key sectors blighted. The IMF said the loan facility will help address Burundi's protracted balance of payments needs, rebuild external buffers, and support the government's reform agenda. It said this was Burundi's first upper credit tranche quality arrangement with the IMF since 2015, and that it was expected to catalyze donor funding, which is essential to cater to Burundi's large financing needs and support its exit from fragility. After the break, we get into your international news.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
Let's take a look at our international news. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that no one has the right to destroy the food security of any nation, and the world has an opportunity to show Russia that it does not allow blackmail, describing the need to be protected from Russian madness following Moscow's withdrawal from the Black Sea grain deal on Monday. Zelensky said the export of grain from Ukraine's seaports should continue with or without Russia's participation. Ukraine's export provided food security for 400 million people, Zelensky said, and Russia cannot be allowed to hold such a vital supply ransom to its whims. If a bunch of people somewhere in the Kremlin think that they supposedly have the right to decide whether food will be on the table in different countries, Egypt or Sudan, Yemen or Bangladesh, China or India, Turkey or Indonesia, then the world has an opportunity to show that blackmail is not allowed to anyone, Zelensky said in his nightly address. Now, there was a widespread condemnation and outcry over Russia's decision on Monday to end its participation in the deal, which allowed the export of Ukrainian grain from the country's Black Sea ports. The agreement helped ensure the price stability of vital global commodities such as wheat. The year-old agreement, which officially expired at 9 p.m. on Monday, was a lifeline for global food security and a beacon of hope in a troubled world, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said in New York. Now, Guterres said he was deeply disappointed that a letter he sent to Russian President Vladimir Putin last week with proposals to save the agreement went unheeded. After the break, we get into your sports news. Do stay with us.
Welcome to Active Kids, a daily TV show that sparks creativity, learning, and fun for young minds. With exciting activities and lessons, Active Kids inspires curiosity and a love for learning.
New face to the
15. The perfect mix of play and education. Don't miss out on the fun. Tune in to Active Kids on NTV every weekday at 10 o'clock and let the adventure begin.
Let's take a look at the local sports news. Head coach of the Brave Gladiators, Paulus Shipanga, is wary of the threat Equatorial Guinea poses as they head into the second leg of the African Women's Olympic qualifiers today. Comas Nampol FC coach Fortune Ihab has confirmed that the team is in the process of signing new players. Ihab, however, refused to disclose their targets, citing the need for confidentiality. Namibian Sun, however, understands that the team aims to bring in both young and fresh players, plus experienced ones, to have a well-balanced squad for the 2023 to 2024 season. Netball Namibia's Vice President of Development, Juanita Vietbin, has urged players to participate in more local and international games to grow the game. After the break, we get into your international sports news.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Let's get into your international sports news. The 25-year-old Will Jordan's outside back impressed in New Zealand's 35-20 win over the world champion Springboks this weekend, touching down for his 22nd try in as many test matches. It was Jordan's first test for New Zealand since September 2022. Cristiano Ronaldo said there is no chance of him playing club football in Europe again, and that the Saudi Arabian League is better than Major League Soccer, where his great rival Lionel Messi has chosen to begin the next chapter in his career. New Tottenham coach Ange Postecoglou said on Monday that Harry Kane was totally committed to his vision for the North London club as speculation mounts over the England captain's future. After the break, we get into your news highlights. Do stay with NMH at 1.
We are so excited to be kickstarting your morning with entertainment. Everything was happening during this past weekend.
Yes.
Exciting news.
Wow, no, she was killing it already.
In my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with him serving the full term.
As well as keeping you informed on the issues that you need to know happening in and around our country.
You are watching NMH at 1, and if you've just joined us, here are the news highlights from today's broadcast. Democratic Republic of Congo's former president, Joseph Kabila, has rejected accusations from neighboring Uganda that he gave sanctuary to an Islamist rebel group and allowed it to expand and exploit mineral resources. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that no one has the right to destroy the food security of any nation, and the world has an opportunity to show Russia that it does not allow blackmail. Head coach of the Brave Gladiators, Paulus Shipanga, is wary of the threat Equatorial Guinea poses as they head into the second leg of the African Women's Olympic qualifiers today. Those have been your highlights. Remember to tune in every weekday at 1 p.m. to spend your lunch hour with NMH at 1, catching up on the latest news in Namibia, Africa, and the world, ranging from current affairs, economic news, sports, and international headlines. From me, Glenn Rashipura, until next time.